really got to have a good business sense, because fundraising needs to be run like a business. You need to have good cash flow analysis. You need to know what you need to do with the money and so forth. It's the closest you can come to running a company. In order for you to go out and raise money, you have to understand how you go out and you raise the money. Very, very important. What makes me different in collecting the checks than probably any other candidates, I'm probably a little bit farther over on the spectrum on fundraisers than most of the different fundraisers that are out there, because I will stop at nothing to try and get a check from you. If someone says no to me, I say, well, I'd like you to go out and raise $10,000. That's just, to me, the opening gambit of what could be a 2 or 3 week process. I love it when people say to me, Terry, I'm not going to give you a check. I hate you. I hate your candidate. Get out of my office. To me, that's just the beginning. I just settle in, ask for the Diet Coke, and we just begin to do the negotiations. I have tracked people down all over this country. I had an individual, one of the largest corporations in the world, had made a commitment to raise some money for me. And it committed to raise $10,000, and he'd given me $5,000. And this was back in '79 when it was a fundraiser I was doing with Rosalind Carter. President Carter wasn't traveling, if you remember, during the primaries because of the Iranian hostage situation. And the next day we had a fundraiser with Rosalind Carter, and the individual had only given me $5,000. Tried to call his office repeated times, couldn't get through to his office, couldn't get through to his third secretary. So I didn't know what to do. Here I am, I got a big event, the First Lady of the United States of America is coming in the next day. I only got half the commitment. I feel like I'm going to look bad. What do I do? So what I did is the only thing I thought really was the right thing to do is the next morning I got up about 5:15 in the morning. And I took a thermos of coffee and I went out to his home and sat in front of his home till about 6:30 in the morning when the individual came out. He came out to get the paper. I bolted out of my car. I went up to him and I said, Mr. Chairman, I respect you and I respect your company, and you certainly don't want me going back to Washington, D.C. with a bad impression of America's businessmen. And the guy says, well, what can I do for you? I says, well, you gave me $5,000. You still owe me $5,000, and I have the fundraiser today. Poor gentleman felt mortified, embarrassed, and so forth, and he says, well, what can I do for you? I says, I need the $5,000. He says, well, come by my office at 2 o'clock and I'll give you the check. I said, that's not good enough. I'm not leaving until I have the $5,000. So the gentleman went into his home, got his wife a check for $1,000. He got himself a check for $1,000. He came back and said, here's $2,000 and I'll get you the rest. I said, that's not good enough. So I made him go get 3 neighbors at that hour of the morning to give me a $1,000 check. That's a true story. He still tells it at the Chamber of Commerce about young businessmen out there today trying to make their point. But the point to me always is, well, that's not as bad as the next story I'm about to tell you. That was just to warm you up. The point of the story is, and you got to believe this in the fundraising, when I go see an individual, and I will convince them as much as I can that Dick Gephardt is going to be the greatest president of the United States of America, I will use every persuasive skill I have. Why? Because first of all, I believe in it. You got to understand, very important point, you can't do fundraising unless you believe in that individual. Whoever it may be, you got to think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm a volunteer in this campaign. I spend 50 hours a week traveling all across this country. It takes a lot of my time away from my business. It puts a lot of wear and tear in my body. It adds about 20 pounds to my frame every time I do one of these presidential campaigns. I do it because I think Dick will be the best president. I believe in his values. I believe in what he stands for, and I think he can win. And so for me, and for all you people and the candidates that